afraid of the dark.
I heard them for the first time a couple of days ago. I went to bed late, around 3 in the morning. After walking the dog around 10:30, I returned home, locked the front door, and heard footsteps coming up the stairs. Pressing against the peephole, I tried to guess which of the neighbors was returning home. But the steps, reaching approximately the middle landing, ceased. I assumed it was the neighbor from across the hall, who had a habit of coming out to the landing for a smoke, and promptly forgot about it, closing the second entrance door. Around 1 in the morning, I went to the bathroom and, entering the hallway, noticed that the second entrance door was open. Furthermore, I heard someone running down the stairs again, this time from the top floor. Approaching the peephole, I was sure I would see the neighbor's kids, who had a silly habit of racing up and down the stairs like wild horses. However, the landing was empty. But I had this silly feeling like I was in some wrong movie theater. The sound was there, quite obvious, but the picture didn't change. I even cracked open the door. Now the steps were somewhere below, but the entrance door never slammed shut. Honestly, I started feeling quite uncomfortable. After locking both entrance doors, this time checking the locks thoroughly, I went to the bathroom. However, 30 minutes later, an unpleasant surprise awaited me. It turned out the dog hadn't finished her business outside, and she was too shy to do it at home. In other words, I had to get dressed and take her out again. A small explanation: I've been walking at night peacefully for a long time now, as having a stun gun in my pocket gives me some confidence in my safety. Descending the stairs, I listened to the silence of the lobby. No other footsteps. All the lights were on. ... except on the first floor. A rather unpleasant discovery in the middle of the night. It felt like someone was lurking in the foyer by the entrance door. But the dog couldn't care less about such trifles. She was only concerned about one thing: to find a spot to do her business. To find a flower bed. Returning 5 minutes later, I, as usual, looked around before closing the entrance door, just in case some idiot jumps out from somewhere at the last second. The street was empty. We entered the lobby and started up the stairs. Around the 3rd floor, and I live on the 4th. I heard the entrance door slam shut downstairs, and someone quickly started coming up, as if jumping over each step. I swear I even heard their heavy breathing. The dog and I bolted upstairs. I barely remember how frantically I jabbed the key, trying to get into the slot faster. I could only hear those eerie, rapid steps. When we burst into the apartment, I immediately locked the entrance door and, trembling, leaned against the lock. The steps stopped. By all standards, that someone should have been on our floor now, and precisely because no one was there, it was especially scary. I locked both doors with bolts, checking each one twice, and lay down in bed, trying to calm my shaking. I thought I wouldn't sleep until morning. My hearing caught every rustle. However, by morning I still fell asleep. And when I got up around 10, the first thing I did was check the entrance doors. The locks were intact. But I remembered the position of the metal latch lever on the first door turned all the way to the right, and now it was moved almost to the middle, as if it had been pulled from outside by a strong electromagnet. And now another night has come. Night staircase. Children were vacationing at a pioneer camp. Their toilet was located in the yard. As is often the case, it was a wooden structure. There was a heart-shaped cutout in the toilet door. Up to 6 people could fit in the toilet at once. Late one evening, after lights out, two girls went to the toilet. One of them stayed inside while the other decided to wait outside for her friend. She stood there, gazing at the stars, when out of the corner of her eye she noticed a fleeting shadow. It seemed to the girl that it was the shadow of a woman. She continued to wait, but her friend didn't come out of the toilet. The girl went back inside to hurry her friend along, but her friend wasn't there anymore. The girl felt offended, thinking that her friend had sneaked past her and was probably already asleep in her bed. The girl returned to her cabin, but her friend still hadn't returned. The girl waited for an hour, then woke everyone up. The whole group went to look for the missing girl. The counselor entered the toilet with a flashlight. He shone it into each hole, but he didn't find the missing girl there. On the floor, he accidentally noticed a playing card, the Queen of Spades, but he didn't attach any significance to it. They searched for the girl all night but couldn't find her anywhere. Someone suggested that she had run away from the camp. They called her parents, who were also deeply concerned. A week passed, but the girl still didn't appear. They turned to the police, but even they couldn't find her. The vacation was ruined, and many children persuaded their parents to take them home from the camp. It was decided that after lights out, children could only go to the toilet accompanied by an adult. The adult had to ensure that the children didn't disappear like that other girl. One night, a boy urgently needed to use the toilet. He called the counselor. Grumbling, the counselor went with him. The boy went into the toilet alone, and the counselor stayed outside. That boy also disappeared, and again there was a playing card on the floor, the Queen of Spades. Once more, the police arrived at the camp with a dog. The dog refused to enter the toilet, seeming afraid of something. All the children wanted to go home, and almost all of them were taken home by their parents. Only 6 people remained, 3 boys and 3 girls. Their parents couldn't pick them up. They all slept in one cabin. 2 counselors, a girl and a young man, slept with them. Night pots were provided for the children. If someone needed to go to the toilet, they would remove the lid, use it, and then cover it again to avoid any odor. In the morning, they couldn't find one of the boys and one of the girls. On the floor were 2 playing cards. Both were Queen of Spades. The police arrived. They began to suspect the counselors. They arrested the girl counselor. But the next night, another girl disappeared. And once again, they found the Queen of Spades at the scene. After that, the camp was closed, and the children were sent home. The disappearance of the children has never been solved. Some say it was the counselor's doing. Supposedly, someone saw a tattoo of the Queen of Spades on his shoulder. Others say the Queen of Spades was a crazy cook from that camp. Allegedly, she had once been treated in a mental hospital. She was said to catch children to cut off their ears and then make brawn out of them. Some say the Queen of Spades actually exists and is the ghost, the soul of the first camp leader.